Marama waited 7 years for Joseph. She washed his family's clothes under the hot sun. She cooked their food with firewood. She suffered through everything because she loved him. But today he is marrying her best friend. Her best friend from childhood told him lies. Joseph believed the lies without asking Marama. And now Bintu is wearing the wedding dress that should have been Marama's. Laughter, crying, but what goes around comes around. Music. In a small village in Sierra Leone, there lived a young woman named Marama. She was beautiful, kind, and hardworking. Her best friend was Bintu. They had been friends since childhood. They grew up together, playing under the mango trees, fetching water from the well, and sharing secrets. Marama and Bintu were like sisters. When one had food, she shared it with the other. When one was sad, the other would comfort her. Everyone in the village knew that Marama and Bintu were inseparable. One sunny day, Marama went to the village market to buy tomatoes and onions. That was where she met Joseph. Joseph was tall and handsome. He had a nice smile. When their eyes met, Marama felt something special in her heart. Joseph felt it too. He walked up to her and said, "Hello, my name is Joseph. What is your name?" "My name is Marama," she replied shyly. From that day, Joseph and Marama started talking. Snorts, they would meet at the market every week. Soon they fell deeply in love. Joseph would walk Marama home, carrying her basket for her. They would sit under the big tree and talk for hours. Bintu was happy for her friend. She would tease Marama and say, "Look at you, always smiling these days. Joseph has stolen your heart." Marama would laugh and say, "Yes, he has. And I have stolen his too." Everything was beautiful. Marama and Joseph planned to get married. They talked about their future, about the children they would have, about the life they would build together. Then one day, an opportunity came. There was a chance for one person to travel abroad to find work and send money back home. It was a big opportunity that could change someone's life forever. Marama got the opportunity first. Her uncle, who lived in another country, had arranged it. But when she told Joseph about it, she saw sadness in his eyes. That night, Marama could not sleep. She thought about it again and again. Finally, she made a decision. The next day, she went to Joseph and said, "I want you to take this opportunity. You should go abroad. I will wait for you here." Joseph was surprised. "But Marama, this is your chance. You should go." Marama shook her head. "No, Joseph. You go, work hard, make money, then you will come back and marry me. We will have a better life together. I will wait for you. I promise." Joseph held her hands. "Are you sure? It might take some years." "I am sure," Marama said with love in her eyes. "I will wait for you no matter how long it takes." So Joseph took the opportunity and traveled abroad. Before he left, he promised Marama that he would work hard, save money, and come back to marry her. After Joseph left, Marama moved into his family house. She wanted to be close to them to show them that she was serious about Joseph, that she would be a good wife. But life in Joseph's family house was not easy. His mother was a difficult woman. She treated Marama like a servant, not like her future daughter-in-law. Every morning, Marama would wake up before the sun came up. She would fetch water from the well, carrying heavy buckets on her head. Then she would start washing the family's clothes by hand. The clothes were many and dirty. Her hands would hurt, but she kept washing. After washing, she would cook food for the whole family. She cooked with firewood, not gas. The smoke would go into her eyes and make them water. The heat from the fire and the hot sun would make her sweat as if she were taking a bath, but Marama never complained. Joseph's mother would watch her and find faults. "This soup is too salty," she would say. Or, "You did not wash my wrapper properly. I can still see stains." Marama would apologize and do the work again. She wanted Joseph's family to love her. She wanted them to accept her. So she endured everything with patience. In the evenings, when all the work was done, Marama would go to her small room and wait for Joseph's call. And Joseph would call. Those phone calls were the best part of Marama's day. "How are you, my love?" Joseph would ask. "I am fine." Marama would lie. not wanting to worry him with stories of how his family was treating her. They would talk for hours. Joseph would tell her about his new life abroad, about his work, about the things he was seeing. Marama would listen and smile, imagining the day when she would join him there. Sometimes Joseph would send her small gifts, a bottle of perfume, a nice scarf, some money. Marama kept everything he sent as if they were treasures. She would spray the perfume on her pillow at night so she could smell it and think of him. Bintu would visit Marama at Joseph's family house. Snorts. She would see her friend working like a slave, sweating under the sun, and she would shake her head. Marama, how long are you going to do this? Bintu would ask. It has been 4 years now. Joseph has not even visited you once, not even once. Marama would smile and say, Do not worry, Bintu. My fiancé will come. He will marry me and take me abroad. You will see. Bintu would laugh. Not a kind laugh, but a mocking one. If you say so, she would say. The years passed. 4 years became 5 years. 5 years became 6 years. Marama was still waiting, still washing clothes, still cooking with firewood, still being treated badly by Joseph's family. Then things started to change. Joseph's phone calls became less frequent. Before, he would call every day. Then it became every week, then every 2 weeks, then once a month. When Marama called him, he would not answer. When he finally picked up, he would sound annoyed. Joseph, I miss you, Marama would say. I am busy with work, Marama. I cannot talk now, he would reply and cut the call. Marama's heart started to worry, but she pushed the worry away. She told herself that Joseph was just busy, that he was working hard for their future. What Marama did not know was that something else was happening, something that would destroy her life. One day, Bintu was sitting at home browsing the internet on her phone. She was looking through a social media app when she saw a familiar face. It was Joseph, but this Joseph looked different. He looked handsome, well-fed, and healthy. He had gained weight. His skin was glowing. He was wearing nice clothes. He looked like a rich man. Bintu stared at the picture for a long time. Then she sent him a friend request. Joseph accepted it. He messaged her. Bintu, is that you? Wow, it has been so long. Yes, it is me, Bintu replied. How are you? They started chatting. At first, it was just friendly talk about old times, about the village, about people they both knew. But then Bintu started to feel something. She started to feel jealous of Marama. Why should Marama get this handsome, successful man? Why should Marama go abroad and live a good life while she, Bintu, stayed in the village? An evil plan started to form in Bintu's mind. She started talking to Joseph every day. She would send him her pictures. She would make him laugh. And slowly, she started planting seeds of doubt in his mind about Marama. You know Joseph? Bintu said one day during their chat. I do not know if I should tell you this. Tell me what? Joseph asked. It is about Marama. What about her? Bintu took a deep breath and started telling lies. Terrible lies. Since you left for abroad, Marama has changed, Bintu said. She is not the same girl you left behind. She goes to clubs now. She dances with men. She drinks alcohol. Some people even say she sleeps with men for money. Joseph could not believe what he was hearing. What? No, that cannot be true. Not Marama. She would not do that. I am sorry, Joseph, Bintu continued with her lies. I did not want to tell you, but you are my friend too. I cannot let you be fooled. Everyone in the village knows about it. I am only telling you this because I care about you. Joseph felt his heart break. He felt anger rising in his chest. How could Marama do this to him after everything? After he was working hard abroad to build a future for them? He did not stop to think. He did not ask himself if the stories were true. He did not call Marama to hear her side. He just believed Bintu's lies. The next day, Joseph picked up his phone and called Marama. Marama was so happy to see his call. She had not heard from him in weeks. Joseph, my love, I am so happy you called. I miss you so much. Shut up, Joseph said coldly. Marama was shocked. Joseph had never spoken to her like that before. Joseph, what is wrong? I know everything, Marama. I know what you have been doing. I know about the clubs, the men, everything.
What?
Joseph, I do not understand.
What are you talking about?
Do not pretend you do not know, Joseph shouted. I am not interested in you anymore. We are finished. Do not call me again. And he cut the call. Marama stood there holding her phone, shaking. She tried to call him back, but he had blocked her number. She tried to send him messages, but they would not go through. She did not understand what was happening. What clubs? What men? She had been in Joseph's family house all this time, working like a slave. She had not even gone anywhere. But Marama thought maybe Joseph was just angry about something. Maybe he had had a bad day at work. She thought he would calm down and call her back to apologize. She was wrong. 2 days later, Joseph's mother came to Marama's room. Pack your things and leave my house, the old woman said. Mama, what did I do? Marama asked, tears filling her eyes. My son called me. He said you're a prostitute. He said you bring shame to our family.
I want you out of this house now.
But Mama, it is not true. I did not do anything. I have been here all this time working for you, cooking, cleaning. I do not want to hear it, Joseph's mother said. Get out of my house now before I call people to throw you out like a goat. Marama packed her few belongings with tears streaming down her face. Joseph's family members stood watching her, some laughing, some shaking their heads in disgust. They chased her out of the house and locked the gates behind her. Marama walked home to her family's house, crying all the way. People on the road stopped to stare at her. Some asked what had happened, but she could not even speak. When she reached home, her mother saw her and knew right away that something terrible had happened. My daughter, what is it? Her mother asked, pulling her into her arms. Marama collapsed in her mother's embrace and cried like a baby. She cried for hours. Her mother held her and comforted her, but nothing could stop the pain in Marama's heart. While Marama was suffering, Bintu and Joseph's relationship was growing stronger. They chatted every day. They talked on video calls. Joseph would tell Bintu how beautiful she was, how smart she was, how much he enjoyed talking to her. Bintu had successfully stolen her best friend's man. 6 months passed. One day, news spread through the village like wildfire. Joseph was coming home, and he was coming home to get married. Marama heard the news, and her heart jumped. Maybe Joseph had realized his mistake. Maybe he was coming back for her after all. She dressed in her best clothes and went to Joseph's family house. But when she got there, what she saw broke her heart into a million pieces. There was Bintu, her best friend from childhood, trying on a wedding dress. Marama could not move. She could not breathe. One of Joseph's relatives saw her and laughed. Why are you here? Did you not hear? Joseph is marrying Bintu now. You are just a prostitute. Get out of here before we pour water on you. Marama ran away crying. The wedding day came. It was a grand ceremony. Joseph had sent money from abroad to make it big. There were decorations everywhere. White and gold balloons, flowers, ribbons. There was a big cake, 3 layers tall. There was food and drinks for all the guests. Joseph stood at the altar in a fine suit, looking handsome and happy. Bintu walked down the aisle in a beautiful white wedding dress, smiling as if she had won the lottery. Everyone was happy. Everyone was celebrating. Music was playing, people were dancing, but at the back of the crowd, standing alone, was Marama. She had worn her oldest, dirtiest clothes. She did not care how she looked anymore. She just stood there watching the man she had waited 7 years for marry her best friend. She watched as they said their vows. She watched as they exchanged rings. She watched as the pastor pronounced them husband and wife. She watched as they kissed. She watched as they cut the cake, feeding each other while guests clapped and cheered. Tears poured down Marama's face like rain. Her body was shaking with sobs, but the music was too loud for anyone to hear her crying. After the wedding, Joseph and Bintu went to their new house, a fine house that Joseph had rented with his abroad money. Marama could not accept it. The next day, she went to their house. She knocked on the gate and shouted, "Joseph, Bintu, please let me talk to you. Please." A security guard came out. "Madam, you have to leave," he said. "No, I need to talk to them. Please, just let me explain." "If you do not leave, I will call the police," the guard warned. "Joseph," Marama shouted, hoping he would hear her. "I did not do anything. The stories were lies. Please just listen to me." But no one came out. The gate remained locked. The security guard pushed Marama away, and she fell on the ground. He went back inside and locked the gate. Marama sat on the ground outside their house and cried. She cried until she had no more tears left. Then she got up and walked home like a person who had died, but her body was still moving. When she got home, her mother held her again. "Mama, what did I do to deserve this?" Marama asked. "I waited for him. I suffered for him. I gave him everything." Her mother wiped her tears and said, "My daughter, listen to me. Your own husband will come. A man who truly deserves you will find you. All these years you wasted, all this suffering you endured, God will reward you. You will see what those wicked people did to you. God will deal with them. You just wait and see." Marama wanted to believe her mother, but her heart was too broken to hope. Meanwhile, Joseph and Binta were enjoying their new married life. They ate good food, wore nice clothes, went to parties. Binta posted pictures on social media every day, showing off her new life. But happiness built on lies and wickedness never lasts. 1 month after the wedding, something terrible happened. It was late at night. Joseph and Binta were sleeping in their bedroom. Suddenly, Binta woke up smelling smoke. "Joseph, Joseph, wake up," she screamed. Joseph jumped up from the bed. The room was filling with smoke. He ran to open the door and saw fire everywhere. The whole house was burning. "Fire!
Fire."
They both screamed. They managed to run out of the house in their night clothes. They stood outside watching as the fire burned everything. All their clothes, their furniture, their money that Joseph had kept hidden in the bedroom. All his important documents. Everything was burning. Neighbors came out and tried to help put out the fire, but it was too late. By the time the fire ended, the house was destroyed. Everything was gone. Joseph and Binta stood there in shock with nothing but the night clothes on their bodies. The news of the fire spread through the village quickly. People came to look at the destroyed house. Some felt sorry for them, but many people said, "This is karma. This is what they get for what they did to Marama." Joseph had lost everything. All his documents were burned, including his travel papers. He could not go back abroad. He was stuck in the village with nothing. He tried to rebuild, but nothing worked. He had no money left. He could not find good work. Soon, Joseph and Binta had to move to Binta's mother's house because they had nowhere else to go. Living in her mother's house was difficult. The house was small. There was no privacy. Binta's mother would complain every day about how they were eating her food and using her water without contributing anything. Joseph and Binta started fighting. Binta would say, "This is your fault. If you had been more careful with money, if you had worked harder." Joseph would shout back, "You were the one who wanted the big wedding. You were the one who wanted to show off on social media." The love between them died quickly. What was built on lies and betrayal could not stand when trouble came. One day, Snorts, Binta packed her bags and left. She could not bear the suffering anymore. She went to stay with a relative in another town, leaving Joseph alone in her mother's house. Binta's mother chased Joseph out soon after. "My daughter is gone, so why are you still here? Get out of my house." Joseph had nowhere to go. He ended up renting a small, dirty room. To survive, he started working as a taxi driver, driving a taxi around the village for little money. The man who had been living abroad, the man who had a grand wedding, was now driving a taxi, struggling to eat one meal a day. People who saw him would shake their heads. Some would point and say, "Look at Joseph. See what karma did to him. He left a good woman who loved him and married her wicked friend. Now look at him." While Joseph's life was falling apart, something beautiful was happening to Marama. Marama had slowly healed from her heartbreak. Her mother's words kept encouraging her. She started going to church more. She prayed. She tried to rebuild her life. One day, a rich businessman came to the village for a funeral. His name was Mr. Kumar. He was a successful man who owned several businesses in the city. At the funeral, Mr. Kumar saw Marama. He was struck by her beauty, but more than that, He saw something special in her eyes. Kindness, strength, humility. He asked people about her and they told him Marama's story. How she had waited 7 years for a man, how she had suffered, how she had been betrayed. Mr. Kumar was moved. This was the kind of woman he wanted, a woman who knew how to love, how to be patient, how to be loyal. He approached Marama's family properly and asked to marry her. At first, Marama was afraid. She did not want to trust another man. But Mr. Kumar was patient. He showed her that he was different. He showed her true love and respect. Finally, Marama agreed. 6 months later, Marama married Mr. Kumar in a beautiful wedding that was even bigger than Joseph and Binta's wedding. But this time, the love was real. The happiness was genuine. Mr. Kumar took Marama to the city to live in his big house. He treated her like a queen. He bought her nice clothes, jewelry, and a car. But more than the material things, he gave her love, respect, and peace. Marama's suffering had finally ended. Her mother's words had come true. Her own husband had come, and God had rewarded her for all her wasted years. When Binta heard about Marama's marriage to a rich man, she felt eaten up with jealousy and regret. She had destroyed her friendship, her reputation, everything. And for what? For a marriage that collapsed after 1 month. Binta tried to reach out to Marama. She called her phone, but Marama had changed her number. She went to Marama's family house, but they told her Marama had moved to the city. Finally, Binta managed to find out where Marama lived. She went to the big house and knocked on the gate. The gateman came out. "Who are you looking for?" "I want to see Marama." "I am her friend," Binta said. The gateman went inside to ask. When he came back, he said, "Madam says if you want to see her, you need to book an appointment. She is very busy." Binta stood there shocked. An appointment to see her childhood friend. She realized then that the friendship was truly dead. She had killed it with her lies and betrayal. Binta walked away in shame, crying. As for Joseph, he continued his life as a taxi driver, struggling every day. Sometimes people who entered his taxi would recognize him. "Aren't you the Joseph who married Bintu?" they would ask. "Hey." Joseph would just nod silently and drive, too ashamed to speak. One day, he saw Marama's car pass by. She was sitting in the back seat, looking beautiful and peaceful. Their eyes met for just a second. Marama looked away and the car drove past. Joseph pulled his taxi to the side of the road and put his head on the steering wheel. He thought about everything. How he had a good woman who loved him. How he threw her away because he believed lies. How he married the wrong person for the wrong reasons. Now Marama was living like a queen, and he was driving a taxi. Now Marama was happy and loved, and he was alone and broken. That is how the story ended. Marama, who suffered for 7 years, finally got her reward. Joseph and Bintu, who built their happiness on lies and betrayal, lost everything. The village people would tell this story to young girls and boys, teaching them important lessons. Do not betray your friends. Do not believe lies without finding the truth. Treat people with love and respect. What goes around comes around. And most importantly, if you're a good person, keep being good. Your reward will come. It might take time, but it will come. Do not forget to subscribe for more unique stories.